Good morning, good morning. As you'll see in the headline, I apologize, but we have to begin early today because otherwise I won't be able to be around at 9 a.m. sharp. So if you are watching live, then great, you get an extra house point. And if you are going to be watching this at 9 o'clock, I apologize profusely, but this was the only way that we could do it. So let me firstly state that we are dedicating today's learning in memory of Sarah Bas Chaim Becker, Georgia Bas Meir Cohen, David ben Chaim Leib Baum, Yosef ben Hershel Levi Foster, Rafael ben Kaddish Hyman, and Esther Bas Shmuel Korb. We wish the respective families long life, and I know that Michael will be watching a bit later on. And Michael, we wish you long life. Good morning, Clarice, Peter, and everyone else who are still joining us. Apologies once again that we have had to begin early. Okay, so one of the highlights or lowlights, in fact, of the parsha relates to the epic battle and confrontation between another nation and the Jewish people. That nation was and is Amalek. Amalek are considered in Jewish thought as evil incarnate. In other words, that there is something about them which is completely irrational, illogical, and they embody evil, wickedness, and the very worst of humanity. And they decided to attack, the original Amalek decided to attack the Jewish people, the Bnei Israel, our ancestors, when they were in the wilderness. The Jewish people were not unarmed, and they were taken by surprise. They attacked the Jewish people from the rear, which of course was an ambush and an attempt to pick off the weakest members of the Jewish people, the women and the children. That is the callous way in which they behave. And Moshe, in this battle, we're told that he got the Jewish people together and the men, and everyone was able to galvanize the troops, and they fought. And of course, when the Jewish people were fighting, it wasn't them alone, it was with the Almighty's assistance. And we're told that Moshe lifted up his hands, and when his hands were up, the Jewish people were winning. And when Moshe's hands fell, then they started to lose. And ask the Talmud the most obvious question that I'm sure we all have. Good morning, Alan. Thank you for joining us. The question is obvious. Was it the hands of Moshe that brought about our victory, our salvation, our success on the battlefield? All Moshe had to do then was to keep his hands up. In fact, he got two people to support his arms. And the answer was and is that Moshe's hands reflected the spiritual level of the Jewish people. In other words, Moshe lifted his hands, encouraging the Jewish people to look heavenwards. In other words, even when they were engaged in a battle for their survival, for their existence, don't pin your hopes. Don't put all your eggs in the basket of, I'm going to win this battle. It's up to me, my success, my ego, myself. Quite the opposite. To recognize that everything, our success in all our endeavors, comes from on high. And therefore, eventually the people recognized, this was the first battle that they had to actually fight. They recognized the method in Jewish survival, which is that we turn to the Almighty, we beseech the Almighty, and we recognize that whatever successes we have in life, it's not because of us per se, but it's actually, we have to turn to the Almighty and recognize the blessings come from him. And it's an interesting story that Rabbi Daniel Rowe mentioned many years ago at a dinner, charity dinner that I attended. And he told about the chief of police, the former chief of police of South Manchester, I believe, who told the story about Diane Ehrentreu. Okay, so this is quite a roundabout story. I apologize. And he said that he remembers that he was on the force for many years as chief of police. And during the 1950s and 60s, when he was on the force, he remembers that they used fingerprints to be able to catch criminals, right? fingerprints that criminals left behind at the scene of the crime, that enabled the police to identify who the criminals were and therefore bring them to justice. And he had been baffled and struggled with this question, which he'd had over the course of several years. And that is, we've all got unique fingerprints. So his question was, how many criminals did we catch? A few thousand, 10,000, 20,000 through fingerprint identification? He says that we only use fingerprints as a form of identification, essentially for 30 years, 40 years max. That was it, right? After that, they went on to other things to assist them, DNA, etc. So therefore, he said, he struggled with the idea that the point that each of us have our own fingerprints, our unique identification through fingerprints, that the Almighty made us like that purely in order for him and his police force to catch a few crooks. Doesn't make sense. Why is it God made everyone's fingerprints unique? It can't be just to catch a few criminals. And he said that he heard Diane Ehrentreu say the idea, or maybe it was the other way around, but the idea was that a person's hands represent their engagement with the world, their actions, their endeavors, their efforts, right? Most of what we do in this world is with our hands, our actions. And therefore, the same way that the fingerprints are unique, so it is that our efforts are unique, our actions are unique. Two people can be engaged in the exact same thing, and yet they are radically different. They are worlds apart, because every person is unique. Every person is not a carbon copy of someone else, but they are made in their own image. And therefore, the idea is that we all bring to bear the fruits of our labor, whatever we, in our unique character and personality and makeup, are able to bring to bear. And it's never going to be exactly the same as someone else. Therefore, God made us all different. We look different, we feel different, we think different, so that we are able to make our unique contribution on the world. That is the lesson that we learn from the encounter with Amalek and from this chief of police, that our actions are, firstly, they're not dependent completely and wholly on ourselves, but we recognize that all our accomplishments and successes in life, we have to recognize that they come from the Almighty. If you think about the Oscars, I don't know if you've ever been to the Oscars. I met somebody recently, actually, and he actually was invited to the Oscars. What a great honor, I guess. Anyways, he spoke, about the whole thing about the Oscars is they have to give the speech, don't they? They have to give the thank you speech. I wouldn't be here without, I want to thank, it's not about me, it's about my directors and my producer and my film writer and my co-actors and actresses, and they go on and on and on, right? On the stage of life, we as real role in real role, rather than just acting as Jews as the cosmic camera rolls, we are meant to make our own unique contribution, but attribute our successes not just to us, but also to the ultimate producer, which is the Almighty. Please God, we should always see success in our lives, in our endeavors, and please God, we should be able to bring tremendous light to the world as ambassadors of light, as the Jewish people are meant to be. And in that way, we'll see peace, health, and only good things in the years ahead. Amen. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. We're going to conclude now with the Psalm 23. And then after that, we'll carry on with the memorial prayer and Refuah Shlema prayer. Apologies once again. Chatasi Avisi Bashati. I'm really sorry that I had to start early, but I've got to be somewhere at 9 and I couldn't do it again in the car. It's just too difficult today. So there we go. A song of David. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He causes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even as I walk in the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You set a table before me in the presence of my adversaries. You anointed my head with oil. My cup overflows. May only goodness and kindness pursue me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord for length of days. Memorial prayer, friends. Adon Olamim Zachoes Nishmois. Sarah Bas Chaim Becker, Jirgia Bas Meir Cohen, David Ben Chaim Leibaum, Yosef Ben Heschel Ben Halevi Foster, Rachel Ben Kaddish Hyman, Esther Bas Shmuel Korb, Charlotte Kuli Olamim, Annabal Rachamim Hastirain, Besaisa Kanafech, Ali Olamim, Vertis Obasar Chaim Nishmasam, Bianucha Mishmasam Beshalom Nama, Amen. Long life wishes to all. And now, lastly, before Shlema prayer, before we get ready for Shabbos, aren't we getting excited? Shabbos Beshalach, Shabbos Shira, Women Shabbat, can't wait. Gil is speaking in shul, not to be missed. Misha Bechav said, Rabbi Yisrael Yaakov Moshe Aaron David Shlomo Yivarech Rebbe Chaylim. Bavu Shanu Mispalim Bavu Ram Mitzvah Kadosh Baruch Hu Yimal Rachim Aleichem Lachem Alachos Sam Yishlach Lehem Ufush Nushmaim Lachol Vem Besoshach Yisrael Rafus and Epshus Guf Hashtabak is Makrif and Amen. Last night we had a special dedicated evening of prayer and learning. As a schus for Elizabeth Balcony, who's not well, we wish her a refuah shalema, along with all the others that are unwell currently. Wishing everyone well, wishing you a good Shabbos, a Shabbat Shalom, and hopefully we'll see you in shul. And if not, we look forward to seeing you next week, please God, online 9:30 on Sunday. Shabbat Shalom, good Shabbos, have a great Shabbos, enjoy.